Hey folks, Brendan here from Bluelight. Now, if you've been following me for the past few years, you'll know that I don't just provide support for people who are looking to get into the police through the recruitment process. I also provide support for people who are going through the promotion process. Actually, it's something I've been doing now for 26 years. So not just something I started to do when I retired, I've been doing it in service for so many years now as a sergeant and as an inspector, helping to enable my team members to succeed. Now, a type of question that's been knocking around for a long time is the forward-facing question, but it seems to be coming back into vogue more now. Now, as opposed to the rear-facing type questions, the ones that start with, please can you tell me a time when? These are ones which start with, how in the future as a sergeant will you? So they're quite tough, and in previous videos I've talked about a possible structure that you might want to consider. It's worked for so many people so far. But in a recent In-Force Advancement Group webinar, this is where members of the In-Force Advancement Group get to practice. Check the links below for how to join that group. Actually, it's £3.33 a month. It's the price of a coffee and a snack. But for that, you get a short course on how to answer interview questions, how to structure them, and you get to join a weekly webinar, and you get access to what's now about a year's worth of recordings of those weekly webinars. So in the recent one, we took a look at forward-facing questions, and I promised I'd create a video for the questions that we believed were likely ones that you were going to get. And so I thought, instead of just putting it in the In-Force Advancement Group, I'd share it with you. So if you're looking to get promoted and you've got forward-facing questions ahead of you and you're thinking, what on earth are they likely to be? Well, these are the ones that a group of us decided were highly likely. And when I say group, these are people who are going from PC to sergeant, sergeant to inspector, and chief inspector to superintendent. So in no particular order, what we came up with was, how in the future will you ensure an ethical culture? How in the future will you ensure a culture of performance? How in the future will you ensure that your officers act in a collaborative way when it comes to problem solving? How in the future will you ensure that your officers engage with citizens in any problem solving process? How in the future will you ensure that your officers act appropriately in terms of their behaviour? How in the future will you ensure a culture of inclusivity on your team? How in the future will you ensure a culture of ethical decision making? And how are you going to enable young in-service officers to develop, and how are you going to make sure that they succeed in their career and want to remain in the police service? How will you go about challenging inappropriate behaviour, not just from your constables, but from fellow sergeants and those officers who are more senior to you? So there you go, folks, a list of possible questions that you could get. There are more, but those are the ones that we thought, let's just focus on those to start with, without scrambling our heads even more with more complex forward-facing questions, which you could get. Now, if you might be thinking, is there a sort of recipe for this so we know exactly what sort of forward-facing questions each force is going to ask? No, we don't, because every force can decide what sort of promotion process they want to run. There's not really any national guidelines that I'm aware of. There's just a competency and values framework, and it's up to forces how they want to run their promotion boards. Ranges from delivering presentations, long interviews, briefings, to one force I know that where all you've got to do is submit an expression of interest to be a sergeant, and your expression of interest is marked, and if it passes, you're a sergeant. That's Thames Valley Police, by the way, unless they've changed it, of course. And that's the other problem. Forces change their promotion process all the time. No consistency. Goalposts are always changing. Actually, whoever said that goalposts need to be white, rectangular at the end of the pitch? You might turn up tomorrow and find that they're square or circular and multicoloured and in the centre of the pitch. It's not just that the goalposts are always moving, They're always changing. You might not even recognize the goalpost tomorrow, but that's just the nature of the beast. Hey, we could create a forward-facing question out of that, couldn't we? How in the future are you going to ensure that your team successfully manage change? There you go, just giving you another one. What I do though, if you're thinking, what's my force likely to ask questions about? I think if they're looking for you to be a strong leader in the force, either a future sergeant, inspector, chief inspector, superintendent, then they're going to want to focus on the sort of problems that the force is having. So I'd pay close attention to what's going on in terms of what's problematic in the force. I'd pay close attention to what Her Majesty Inspector of Constabulary is saying about the force, because these could be the drivers for the sort of questions that you're going to get. Hopefully that makes sense, folks. Does it make sense? Let me know in the comments what you think. And please do join the Serving Officers Cadre Facebook group. That's a free one. You can find the link below. And please do join us for the In-Force Advancement Group. I can't make it any cheaper than that, can I? £3.33 a month. My goodness. I'm going to have to change that. I think I'm going to change it to just look, here's a fixed fee. But anyway, at the moment, £3.33 a month. Go and get all of that support and expertise to help you get promoted. That's what we're all about, you getting promoted. All right, folks, hope you've found this useful. And if you've got any questions that you think you could add to the list, please add them in the comments below, and I will take a look at them, read them, and respond to you. Catch you very soon. Bye-bye for now.